Hi guys, just jumping on today to talk about caffeine for a little bit. I'm going to talk about some of the benefits, some of the negatives, how it works in the body, and some alternatives that you can use. Caffeine is the drug of choice for many people. Over 80% of people drink caffeine each day. Over 2 billion cups. 2 billion, still a lot. 2 billion cups of coffee are drank each day. Coffee, tea, energy drinks, soft drinks, and chocolate all contain caffeine. How does caffeine work? So caffeine is an adenosine receptor antagonist. So what this means is caffeine blocks the receptor that adenosine wants to bind to. It is the A1 receptor. So when adenosine is bind to the A1 receptor in your brain, you feel tired, you feel like you want to take a nap or go to bed. But when you drink caffeine blocks the adenosine from binding to the receptor. Caffeine itself will bind to that A1 receptor. Adenosine can't bind to that receptor, so you feel alert and awake. You can build a tolerance to caffeine because caffeine will bind to the receptor. Adenosine won't have anywhere to go, so your brain will sprout new A1 receptors, and adenosine will bind to those receptors, therefore making you feel tired again, and you'll want to drink more caffeine. So it's kind of an endless cycle of making new A1 receptors. This is why you might want to drink a triple ice macchiato on your way to work instead of a green tea in the morning. The FDA recommends about 400 milligrams of caffeine per day for a healthy individual. I usually drink a little bit more than 400. I'm usually drinking about 600 milligrams. I'll have an energy drink in the morning or a coffee. Midday I'll have another coffee, and then before my workout I'll drink some pre-workout. A little bit more. I do feel that my genetic variability for metabolizing caffeine is quite high, or I have built a tolerance maybe. But the half-life of caffeine is about 3 to 5 hours. So what this means is if you drink caffeine at about 2 p.m., from 8 p.m. to midnight, about 25% of that caffeine will still be in your system. So this can cause a lack of sleep or a sleep interruption. There is genetic variability, as I mentioned, in the way you metabolize caffeine, but you don't need a genetic test to find this out. If you drink caffeine in the afternoon or in the morning even, and you're jumping off the walls, you don't feel tired at all, you might be metabolizing caffeine slower than the 3 to 5 hours half-life. Caffeine does have a relationship to sleep, because if you drink caffeine later in the day and the half-life is still there, you have 25%, even 50% of caffeine still in your body when you're trying to sleep. Those adenosine receptors won't have as many places to bind to the receptor to tell you that you're tired, so you won't feel as tired. Maybe you get to sleep, but the caffeine will make you wake up more often. You won't get as deep sleep, and it'll be harder to fall asleep. So try to cut back on that caffeine before about 2 p.m. I've heard 12 hours, I've heard 10 hours, and I've heard 6 hours. This kind of goes back to that genetic variability on how you metabolize caffeine. So feel it out, and if you're feeling tired when you drink caffeine, let's say you drink caffeine at 2 p.m. and you're feeling tired at 10 p.m., that might be a good place to stop drinking caffeine. There are many benefits to caffeine. The main benefit from caffeine is found in the polyphenols that are in the coffee bean or in teas. This is a plant nutrient or a plant property that is an anti-inflammatory. It also has, studies have shown that it can keep your blood pressure and cholesterol in a healthy range. It can reduce depression, can improve your heart health and reduce your risk for a stroke. It also can prevent belly fat. Another important benefit of caffeine is that it improves insulin sensitivity, which can decrease your risk for type 2 diabetes. You can still get the benefits from these even if you're drinking decaf coffee, but it's usually, the polyphenols usually are not found in energy drinks or soft drinks. If you found that caffeine isn't effective for you, or you don't enjoy this like jitteriness of it, you have a bad reaction to it, there are some alternatives. One alternative that I actually use is maca. Maca is a root from a Peruvian radish. It's an adaptogen that is shown to increase stamina, physical performance, and reduce fatigue. It's great for athletes who are looking to improve performance or endurance, and it's great for mental clarity and focus. Maca also has a hormone balancing property that's good for easing symptoms of depression due to shifting hormones. One alternative that I haven't heard of before is Rhodiola. This is also an adaptogen that focuses on neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and this can improve mood and focus. One alternative that I thought was really cool was Cordyceps. Cordyceps is a parasitic fungus that lives on caterpillars. Pretty crazy. They're found in mountains in China. Chinese people and Chinese medicine of this Cordyceps dates back to thousands of years ago, and it mainly appears to work by increasing levels of ATP. So if you think back to high school biology, ATP is great for cellular respiration and body function. So having extra ATP is great. Thanks for listening, guys, to my little video on caffeine. I want to know what your caffeine usage is like, what you're using. Are you using teas, coffees, energy drinks? What are you using? If you're not using caffeine, are you using any alternatives? Or are you just going freely and enjoying your own body's production of energy? Thank you.